I think I'm going to create like a compilation video of Meinos roasting RWBY show later on.
Like, okay, where am I taking this? Because the original concept was dating sim with RWBY in the background. Now, do I want to just say, screw it, I'm just going to do whatever I want? And yes, in the end, I ended up doing whatever I want. I have to admit, though, the Rooster Teeth made it very easy to make that decision after season 4. Like, okay, yeah, I don't care anymore. I'm trying to respect canon as much as I can. I'm just going to make my story fit into what happens in the show. Then by season 4, I was like, I don't care anymore. I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want, because yes, I do believe I know better. I have my own vision for the story. It's not really because I want to dig at RWBY or Rooster Teeth. It's just that JPDE has become its own story, and it's now pretty much incompatible with RWBY as it is. And no, I'm not going to modify stuff that happens in JPDE because of stuff that happens in RWBY. It's no longer feasible. It's not possible. I cannot do that, even if I cared to do that. It's not going to happen. If there are any questions saying, okay, this happened in RWBY, are you going to change that in JPDE? I say, no. I'm going to maybe take some inspiration for stuff. If there is stuff that they do that I like, I may put it in the game, but I find that it's becoming less and less as time goes on.
Okay, this is going to be a little bit controversial, but I don't think like the current writers in RWBY kind of goes with that the character first approach.
That's the feeling. I stopped watching RWBY in volume 4, but I kept up with what's happening, and that's the feeling I got. I guess starting from the middle of season 3. The feeling I got is that they started doing stuff not because the characters would do that, but because the plot necessitated those things to happen. Like certain things happened a certain way because of the plot or even for the rating. For example, one thing that really offended me about Penny, I don't know if someone stated this during an interview, but they basically had Penny's scene be that gruesome where you literally see her cut to pieces because they could do that to a robot and not make the rating for the series R or mature.
Right.
So they could get away to do something really violent, but since they're doing it to a robot, they could do it without getting a bigger rating. And that really offended me because it means that you're using Caracat as a tool. You're literally using it as a tool for your narrative and for shock value. And that is really, really offensive to me as a writer. I really don't like that.
We're going to go deeper later about your opinions about Team RWBY and the writings in RWBY later on. Okay, this is the moment you've been waiting for, Meinos. What are your thoughts on the RWBY show in general?
Oh boy. In 2 words, wasted potential.
I agree.
Wasted potential because I cannot deny that once I started watching the first 3 seasons, I came to it in a roundabout way. But I remember watching the first 3 seasons until 2.5 through 3/4. I really liked it. I really liked the setting. I really liked the characters, the designs. There was just such an attention to detail. And I feel like a big part of that is the excesses, those personal flourishes that they wanted to add to the series. Like, I remember in the 2nd season, The Breach, and at a certain point, you had a flaming Corgi projectile.
Yeah.
Like, that's completely ridiculous, but it gives you a hint that things like are very personal, very particular. There was a very peculiar thing about RWBY, a very peculiar sensation. This thing is its own thing. It's special. It can be a bit wishy-washy. Some things that maybe they are not explained, but not everything needs to be explained. I don't know how to explain it properly, but it was someone's vision that was put on paper with some limitations, of course, but it was there. Then from middle of season 3, and then season 4, it started losing the magic. The switch to Maya from Poser, I think, was the original thing. higher fidelity, higher detail, whatever, but it lost a bit. Again, the design suffered for the switch to Maya, I feel. Also, the animation suffered for the switch to Maya because, again, it's like the engine. When we talk about Unity and Unreal, where you can do everything. When you can do everything, it's like you don't do anything. Like it lost a bit of the personality, and you had to learn all the learn how to program fights, how to move. That's a work in progress, though. I can understand that. But what I can really not, I really didn't like is how they went into the trappings of over-analyzing stuff, over-explaining stuff, and doing things for shock value and for story purpose, because I want the story to go there, even if it doesn't make any sense for the characters to act a certain way. Or for there are the certain camera, certain direction moments are needless or excessive, and you only do it because you want this thing, you want this emotional response for the audience. And I don't like the kind of story. It's not something that is only RWBY, but with RWBY was, again, very egregious. Well, again, with Penny's death, and then in season 4, that campfire scene, where they take away all the mysticism from the world, from the villains, from the menace. The Grimm, I remember, at the beginning there were these mysterious race of monsters. No one knew where they came from, no one knew why they did the things they did. And there was a mystery, a mysticism that tied into the fairy tale inspired setting that the series was born out of. From season 4 on, it just became another anime. RWBY was its own special, particular thing in the first 3 seasons. From season 4 onward, it became just another anime. And considering that the main writers had gone on record to say that for writing, they were inspired from Naruto, of all things,
Oh, no.
I can see that.
Yes.
I can see that very well. Naruto went through the same thing. I've been reading Naruto since 2001. I remember buying the first volume, volume 2, at a bookshop. I followed it all the way until I was an adult, and he went through the same thing. First, it was his own thing, and then it lost itself to tropes. The thing is that what I consider fiction, when I write fiction, when I write entertainment, is like building a house. Every layer needs to be proper. It needs to be sturdy. No, it doesn't matter if after a while you put like a very nice chromed window, very well done. If you put it on a very faulty foundation, it's going to crumble. So, for example, I really like the backstory that they gave to Osbin and Salem. That I really liked. The flashbacks at the beginning, at the age of the gods, basically. I really like it. There are some elements from it that I don't, but overall that's a very interesting concept. The problem is how they explained it, how they exposed it with the magic flashback MacGuffin, and how those things are, again, like, there are some good ideas, but the foundation now is mostly faulty. And I'm not like, okay, I did it with Naruto. Like, okay, I followed this for so many years of my life, maybe I can keep going, but then I reach a point, I can't do this anymore. So, like, I'm not following. I know all things that happen in it, but I don't follow it anymore since season 4. That was the last season I watched.
Yeah, it's actually the same for me. I watched volume 8. I watched volume 8 and I stopped at episode 2 because I think like the drama in that volume is kind of made up a little bit. So, you know that this is the thing that you told me before. So they have like a certain flag points just like you do, but they will bend the characters to fit what they wanted them to do in that scene. So yes. That's what happened to Ironwood. That's what happened to the drama between the team. Like the most outrageous thing in the volume 6, that's why I pointed out to you, is
what is
the fact that they spend like 1.5 episodes just on flashback with Ospin and Salem. Oh boy!
And again, that's something that they could have hinted at and naturally progressed through it and made the characters discover, so the audience discovered it and all that. But no, lore dump. Well, that's another thing that could be interesting to have in the background, but you just blew your
There's
all
no
over
other
the place
mysteries.
early.
Yeah, there's no
No,
other
it's not a
mysteries.
mystery anymore.
Yeah.
It's just there because, you know, so people can make theory videos or reaction videos. No, stop it. You've been doing it since Terminator 2. Maybe people don't know about this, but Terminator 2, the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the best of the franchise, whatever. They, in the first Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger was the bad guy. And they wanted to have the twist that in the second one, Arnold Schwarzenegger was a good guy, a twist that happens in the movie. So like people are like, but no, they spoiled it in the trailer. They spoiled the trailer for the movie. This has been happening more and more frequently since the 80s, and it's time to stop. It's okay to leave things a mystery. It's okay to not over-explain and overanalyze anything. Leave us some mystery, at least in our fiction. Please.
I don't know if this is like the change of culture or like the different generations, but some of the like this mainstream media, they think that the audience is stupid enough to think like to make like inferences to read this the subtext. Yeah, they kind of stupid enough to read the subtext.
Yeah, the two means I think though is not just that it's not only that they think audiences are more stupid, that they cannot infer or wonder. The problem is also is that nowadays everyone wants to do a franchise. So more things you explain, more people you can get people more hyped up about more stuff, and you can make more stuff in that franchise. So the story, the franchise never ends.
Milk those cows, dude. We have to milk those cows till the last drops.
Yeah, if you leave things to mystery, that means that you cannot make a spin-off on that thing.
Oh, but Meinos, you can drop like a very little clip at the end of the season where you can just like, you know, make the fandom explodes. That's what happened to season 3. The final volume.
Or no, season 2. Yeah, you can make a little clip of,
Raven and
two
Yang.
characters. Yes. That really pissed me off.
Yeah.
I have to say, that really pissed me off. If you play the game, you know what I did with Raven. And you know that I did it exactly because that scene being dropped there and then being completely forgotten really pissed me off.
Oh, they don't forget, actually. They scrapped that.
Yeah, I know, but
they scrapped that. I know you did a 45 minutes essay video about this, but Dragon War asks, how do you feel about the current state of official RWBY games?
There are so many that have been closed. A lot of them, there are simple gacha or mobiles. So many have shut down. Now they're making, there's someone I hear that is making a brawler or something.
It is a collaboration, I think, with...
Yeah, something like that. Like, the thing is with RWBY games, again, this is about less about RWBY and more about Rooster Teeth as a company and how they handle the IP. The rule they say that everything is canon until it isn't. Like there were things in that manga that they made in Japan that there was a commercial thing for the release of the Blu-rays. I read that thing. The characterizations of the cast in the manga was complete. There are some people that were completely conflicting with the original series. Same with the way some fought. There are some lores or contradictions. So the thing with RWBY games, even when they try their best, there is no one. There's not that single person that oversees everything and tries to make everything fit together organically, so there are no things that punch each other in the face. Just saying everything is canon until it isn't doesn't work. Like it's not a thing that you can say when you have stuff those novels, the more I hear about those novels, the more like that's not how things work, or this thing doesn't work in the world of Remnant. So when you were submitted this thing, did you say that doesn't make sense, or like the only one actually get submitted it thing, or just the feeling that I have with RWBY extra material, the word be games or novels or mangas or whatever, is that they just give the license and then they just do whatever they want with the characters. It's the complete opposite of what Disney does with the characters in Kingdom Hearts, for example. It's the complete opposite. No one's charged, no one's overseeing thing. So I feel that RWBY games are just things that they do because it's something you do with a franchise, with an IP. There is no really a concept or nothing like, oh, we can do this thing to add to the franchise, to the IP, to the lore or whatever. It's just something that happens because it needs to happen, but it doesn't really add any added value to the series. They do it to chase trends, even that kind of games they made. Match 3, Clash of Clans, collectible card, they're just chasing trends. So like, what was, yeah. One thing that I did do, having the characters be used as guests in BlazBlue, that was a good idea, because the characters of RWBY, especially with the original designs from the original seasons, are very, like, they were custom made for fighting games. I remember that Monty Oum declared that when he animated fights and directed fight scenes, he animated them as he would a fighting game. There were no dead points. Everything always, there's always a counter move to a counter move to a counter move. There's always this flow. So a fighting game is a no-brainer, of course.
Yeah.
Other than that, let's say that between seasons they had as big of a time skip as I had between JPD 1 and JPD 2. I guess a JRPG or an action game also works. Making an action game about certain missions. But again, that would need the story to be different. Because with the way the story of RWBY is right now, the way they brought it, you can't really do a lot of tie-ins that make sense. They tried it with the novels, and some of the stuff they came up with in the novels is, what the hell are you doing? Yeah. Maybe one thing that I can think, make it, a standalone prequel game about Summer, Rose, and Raven.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That would be interesting. Make them the only two playable characters, though. I don't really like Crow or Taiyang that much. Make it about them. But I think is, again, when I think of that, I think of my version of Summer, Rose, and Raven. So, the thing is that the story of RWBY and the way the series is right now, as a whole right now, doesn't really lend itself a lot to games. So, yeah.
Yeah, because, well, they kind of build up this story, like saving the world story, right? So anything that does not relate to saving the world, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. Even stuff that could go somewhere, like the White Fang, they cut it off.
Yeah.
They cut it off. It's all about saving the world from this evil. There is nothing about, nations, people, reactions like that. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah.